What does it take to do good science? We think it takes 4 comedians in lab coats. Watch them try to make sense of complicated science they know nothing about by a mystery guest scientist they know even less about. Look at their faces. They are brave, they are cute, they are funny. What else do you want? This video is free. After each round of guesswork, we turn to our scientist and ask,
Is that right?
and we all learn something cool or nothing at all.
I'm fighting for my life up here.
Doing science right is overrated in Is That Right? Let's begin the show.
My name is Dr. Kanu Pandey and I will be the host of this show tonight. Players, do you know how the game is played?
Yes.
Do you know what we are talking about tonight?
No.
Of course not, because the scientist has been kept a mystery, a secret from the players and you alike. However, we know a few things about the scientist. Let's see it. Tonight's guest scientist is a fan of what we do in the shadows. They are not a fan of eating caterpillars. They have tried it. They did not like it. And finally, they love fall-scented candles, but not pumpkin-scented. Let's start with Jake.
Well, I think because this person likes what we do in the shadows, they don't like the flavor of caterpillars, and they like a good scent. I think this person is a gastroenterologist.
Oh, very cool. That's Pandey. That's a very good answer. That's a very good answer. We will be applauding a lot more. Get ready to do that. Susanna.
Yes, I think that it's clear that anyone who's interested in shadows, autumn, and not caterpillars, they're early in the season, but butterflies that are late, the end of summer, again, autumnal, may be studying seasonal affective disorder.
Wow, seasonal affective disorder. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Let's hear it from Kathleen.
Yes, as we all know, What We Do in the Shadows is a show that was originally inspired by a New Zealand movie. And pumpkins are not a New Zealand item, they are a North American item. And sometimes there's not a lot to do in New Zealand and you just eat caterpillars. So, what do you do in New Zealand? Because there's not much going on? You're an oceanographer.
Wow, oceanographer. Thank you, Kathleen. And finally, let's hear it from Sarah.
Yes, when we talk about shadows, we're studying the inky jet blackness, the absence of light. We're talking about the autumn, of course. And we're talking about how not eating caterpillars is actually a good thing because they exude protective chemicals that could actually be toxic. So I believe that this person studies murders, but by murders I mean groups of crows.
Thank you. That's an automatic 1 point for Sarah. Thank you so much. Are we ready to meet the mystery guest scientist? Players, are we ready to meet the mystery guest scientist? Yes. Audience, are you ready to meet the mystery guest scientist? Yes. Explode in a 10 applause because they have been sitting among you this whole time. Welcome onto stage, Dr. Laetitia Mwilambwe-Tshilobo. Let's review those answers first, shall we, Doctor? Starting with Jake.
I think you're a gastroenterologist because you have good taste.
I think you study seasonal affective disorder.
I think you're an oceanographer. I think you study murders, but in an ornithological way.
Oh, ornithological way. Thank you so much. Well, let's find out if those answers are right or not. Say it with me, folks. Is that right? That's right, Dr. Laetitia Mwilambwe-Tshilobo is a social neuroscientist. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo is the Presidential Postdoctoral Research Fellow at the Department of Psychology at Princeton University and jointly appointed at the Annenberg School for Communication at UPenn. You have heard her on NPR's Short Wave, where she discussed her research on loneliness and how it shapes brain functions and how the brain supports human sociality. She received her BA in neuroscience from the College of Wooster, an M.Sc in neuroscience from University of Hartford, an MA in developmental psychology from Cornell, and a Ph.D. in neuroscience from McGill University. Everyone, let's welcome again Dr. All right, Doctor, for 5 points. Oh, sorry, yeah, for 5 points. Actually, for 3 points. Let me change that. I'm the host, I'm the god here. For 3 points, which one of these answers would you say was the closest to your field of study, which you have been spending so much time on, which is social neuroscience?
I would have to say that depression, at least, would be somewhat close, because when you're lonely, you are more likely to also experience depression or have a higher risk of depression, so I'm going to go with that.
All right, that's 3 points to Susanna. That's 3 points to Susanna. Let's get a scoring update.
All right, Susanna with 3 points after that round. Sarah got the bonus point in the beginning, so it's 3 with Susanna, 1 with Sarah, and the other 2 contestants are wearing jackets.
That's right, they're at 0 right now, but the game can change at any given point. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo obviously studies a wide range of things within the field of social psychology and social neuroscience. However, we will be talking about one specific type of study or set of studies that she works on, and we will see the problem statement for that in the form of a fill in the blank. Let's see it. How does a conversation bring 2 minds together? Blank during real-time conversations can help us explore this question. Players, you have 30 seconds each to fill in that blank. Begin. So, if I may ask, what happened with pumpkins in your past? Did it get too much, or did somebody do you dirty with a pumpkin?
No, it is the general love of everything pumpkin that just tipped it for me.
Oh my God.
It's just too much.
Do you think that changed around 2020 or 2021? Or maybe earlier than that? Or?
I think 2020, around that time, yeah.
Thank you. That's time. Players, I hope you've written your answers, because first we are going to figure out the correct answer to that question. How does a conversation bring 2 minds together? Hyperscanning during real-time conversations can help us explore this question. Hyperscanning during these real-time conversations. Players, did you get that right?
Yes.
Let's find out, starting with Jake.
For sure. So this is a common term that we all know. I don't want to brag, but I'm a professional comedian. And so, of course, what I wrote is it's just another way of saying hyperscanning. I said that braid from Avatar. I'll have a seat now.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. That was astute. Susanna.
Sure. So we all remember that time of year, autumn. We've discussed it a few times, where your parents, you ask them, could we bring some food into school? They're collecting for the holidays that are coming up. So my answer was canned food drive. And I think that if that is happening during a conversation, you hyperscan those shelves, looking for the beets you'll never eat, for the string peas you don't want. I'll take a
Thank
sip.
you. Who has the scan shelves at Target? Kathleen.
Yes, I think I got this right, in the vulgar term though. I said eye contact.
Ooh.
Kathleen, would you mind explaining why eye contact is hyperscanning?
Look at me. This is so important. I'm fighting for my life up here. It's important because I feel like we're connected.
All right. Thank you, Kathleen.
That audience member just got hyperscanned.
Yeah. Let's hear it from Sarah.
Yes, according to my research and background, the renowned scientist William Shakespeare said, love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, right? And therefore, when you're at a bar and you want to mix minds with somebody and you're hyper-scanning the room, trying to find that person, you'll find that kissing during your conversation will help your minds meet to a mutual goal.
Cannot argue against it. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Let's see those answers for all the audience and for Dr. alike. And Doctor, for 5 points this time. Which of these answers is the same as hyperscanning? Is it that great from Avatar, the blue one, TM? Is it canned food drive? Is it eye contact? Or is it kissing?
Yes.
It's twice.
These are all excellent.
So democratic.
A very lenient grader.
I would say that the eye of the machine that looks at the brains and contacts the brain to scan it might be the closest that we can get to that answer.
That's 5 points to Kathleen. Let's get a scoring up there, please.
All right, those 5 points go to Kathleen. That brings our score now. Sarah with 1, Susanna with 3, Kathleen with 5, and Jake sitting out there reading a little Midsummer Night's Dream, trying to find that quote. Back to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. Well, we have understood that hyperscanning can help us learn about real-time conversations, but we don't really know what hyperscanning is, evidently. So in this next game, we will learn what hyperscanning is, and the next segment is called a podcast shuffle. Players, please arrange the stage for podcast shuffle. So in this particular game, we will first see a straightforward interview in the style of a podcast from Kathleen. Kathleen will be the host of the podcast, and she will be interviewing the expert, which is our guest scientist tonight. But after 3 minutes, I will cut off their podcast, and Kathleen will become the new expert, and somebody from outside will come in and become the new host. That's right. Then they will become the new expert, and somebody else will become the new host until we reach the last player, which will be Jake, because Jake hasn't earned any points right now, and this will be their catch-up game. The first podcast that we will see will be of a regular, simple, straightforward kind of interview. However, the podcast that we will see after that particular point will be in the genres that we will get from you. So let's ask Trevor over here, what kind of podcast do you like to listen in the evening?
Sports.
Swords?
Swords.
Thank you. So let's make two slips over there. One is sports, and the other is swords.
I would totally listen to that podcast.
Yeah, if you put them together, fencing. Well,
Nice.
let's ask Cats over here. What kind of podcast?
Now, are you just asking the person who said cats, or are you asking everybody in that section?
They have self-identified as cats.
I see, okay.
Just as they self-identified as Trevor, and they have self-identified as
The third law of
spiders.
thermodynamics.
That's
Okay.
All right, so let's hear a podcast that has been recommended to you, but you were never able to get into it. Let's hear some names of those podcasts.
Bloomberg Law.
Bloomberg Law. Somebody came to the show last week. We are going to take that. Let's write down Bloomberg Law, as in Mike Bloomberg. Bloomberg Law.
And as in LA law.
As opposed to LA Law.
Yes,
That's right. So this section right over here, let's hear a podcast that you like to listen when you're feeling very anxious and stressed, and you like to listen to it to calm down.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Comedy Bang Bang. So you would say like a comedy celebrity interview.
Right.
Okay, we'll try to do the comedy ourselves, but let's say just a celebrity interview. Thank you. Let's get another suggestion about a podcast. Let's say from this section over here again. Let's say a podcast that you have recommended recently to somebody.
Dolly Parton's America.
Verbatim. Verbatim, write that down.
Oh, I know.
Dolly Parton's America. All right, do we have enough? I think we have enough. Thank you so much. Give yourself a round of applause. Kathleen, are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
Hello, Doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, I am very curious. I do not know what your subject matter expertise is. Could you please explain what is hyperscanning?
Yes, so hyperscanning is a neuroimaging technique that we use to simultaneously take pictures of the brain of two or more people as they're doing a task during the same time. So it can be either if they're watching a movie together, and we use this method of neuroimaging to look at how the brain activity of these individuals are in sync with one another.
That's so interesting. Is there a particular kind of activity that generates more cohesion or brain waves, or you're the expert, tell me.
So one way in which we can look at this is we're basically measuring the flow of oxygen in the brain. And so if we're doing something that, let's say, is really, really hard for us to do, or something really exciting, we might find a greater spike of the activity in a particular brain area that is associated with that task. So if I am talking with you right now, my brain is doing many, many different things, and one of the areas in which you might find brain activity is, for instance, in my prefrontal cortex. And for you, because you're listening to me, one of the areas might be regions that are involved in auditory processing. So here, exactly.
Okay. So, a group activity, does it have to be sedentary, or can it be a sport?
So it's more of the stimuli that we use as we show participants during the scan. So say we show them a movie, it could just be seeing the movie on the screen and then recording the neural activity as they're watching the movie. So we can then link what's happening in the movie with what's happening in their brain.
So this recording, do people have to wear things on their heads, or is it just like a camera?
That is an excellent question. We actually put them in an MRI, which, are you familiar with an MRI?
Am I?
So you have to be inside the MRI really, really still so we can take very accurate images.
I'm just laughing because, let's go hiking in an MRI.
Hiking would be very difficult.
Yes, so, I mean, that answers my question.
Yeah.
And that's time! Thank you so much. Let's get another player from outside, please. Kathleen, you are our new expert, and the new host is Susanna. Give her a round of applause, everyone, please. That's right. Susanna, you will be hosting a podcast in the genre of...
Oh, Lord. Okay. Bloomberg Law.
You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of Bloomberg Law to ask the question which is on the screen right now: what is hyperscanning? You have 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast today. It's so wonderful to have you live, in-house, a member of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Thank you. I bill in the 10th of an hour.
Wonderful. This bill is going to the government. So, we can't disclose which member of the Supreme Court this is, obviously, and since it's a podcast, you'll never know. Nope. But I have one very important question for you. The definition is needed of hyperscanning before we go on and talk about the nitty-gritty in the law.
Indeed. So I have tried hyperscanning alone, and it has not worked. So I found that I needed to join forces with the other members of the Supreme Court. Only then was hyperscanning feasible.
Amazing. Many of us have thought that was the case, and to get it from the horse's mouth. is just so important. Hyperscanning necessary in a group, not individually. Right. So, when you've looked at the law books and you've utilized this amazing skill, which laws rise to the surface as incorrect?
Well, I will have you know that I am a big fan of laws that make it easy for me to do what I want, and incidentally, stuff that I want to do is stuff that other people want to do too. I love watching movies. Everyone knows this about me. And Amy does too, which is wild. So sometimes we do that together.
What an erudite argument for specific laws. Good to know. Getting back to hyperscanning, I found out that this was illegal at one point in the United States. Could you explain why?
It was illegal, partly because MRI machines were needed for medical purposes and not just because it's like, oh my god, what if we tried this? But now there's more of them. We're a wealthy nation, and so we can use them for our own scientific endeavors.
Wonderful. And would you define MRI?
And it's time! Have a seat, Sarah. You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of
Sports.
That's right. You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of a sports podcast and asking the question that's on the screen, what is hyperscanning? You have 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
Welcome to the zone! My name is Craig Guyman, and today we're talking about sports, and with us today is an expert in hyperscanning, the one and only coach, Trevor Balls.
Hey, that's it, balls in the house! Alright! Again, I'm a 7th time on the show.
That's right, Coach Balls, hyperscanning. How important is it for players to be practicing that?
Oh my God, you know, Manny Guy Man, buddy boy. Yeah, it's super important. It's super important. I don't care what sport you're doing, whether or not you're playing the ping pong, whether or not you're doing the new sport of breakdance.
So it applies to all sports.
All sports. You got to hyperscan every surface that you're playing on.
Every
it could
single
be a ball
surface.
or bat. You got it.
So it's kind of like scanning to figure out the size of the objects that you're playing with that day.
I also enemies incoming.
Enemies, that's right. We call them opponents, but that's okay. Coach, whatever it takes to get your players riled up, right? Sports is war.
Okay,
all right.
The other thing is, when you're hyperscanning, it is best to do it as a team.
Oh, so it's a teamwork objective.
Yes.
So you're talking to your players on the field.
There's
and
lots of eyes in team.
There are actually no eyes in team. Coach, it's okay. All right, Coach Balls just spitting the wisdom here today. We're so lucky to have you on the program. So your people are working together, scanning for enemies. And when they hyperscan, how is that different from just a regular old, lookout? How is it hyper?
You stop chewing your gum.
And that's time! Thank you. Jake, you will be hosting a podcast in the genre of
swords.
That's right. Jake, you will be hosting a podcast in the genre of a sword podcast, a swords podcast, and asking the question, what is hyperscanning? Sarah is our last expert, and Jake, you have 5 points on the line. This is your catch-up round. After this game, after this podcast, you will be explaining what is hyperscanning to the audience and to Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo. Right? Okay, all right, you have 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready, Sarah and Jake?
Yes.
And begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is Good Night, the story about nights at night. Let's get into it. Let's skip the introduction. What is hyperscanning?
It's my pleasure to be here today and a fine evening to you, my prince. Hyperscanning is a fighting tactical strategy that originated with the Knights of Templar, where the entire battlefield on one side works together with a single sword to destroy its enemies on the other side of the battlefield.
And a big sword it is.
It is. It's a large blade.
And that's important for
combat, of course. If you want to destroy anything, you need to have an optimally sized weapon. And so back in the medieval times, people would take a giant broadsword all together by the handle and just hyper-scan across the field with the blade outstretched and just massacre their opponents.
Mom, I just want to really thank you for coming on the podcast again. That's really cool.
I'm so proud of you, Benji.
Our listeners are really fascinated by this topic. I'm getting a lot of comments on our live stream right now.
Hi, Benji's friends.
Mom, they're called the Knights.
That's right. Hi, Knights.
Thank you. And so when everybody is holding the sword together,
All together.
that's like a metaphor.
Well, it's a story about teamwork and about how we don't bully anybody, that everybody can have friends and work as a team and then have Twinkies and milk afterwards at our rec room.
Which I don't have anymore.
Well,
I eat Oreos now.
I know. Well, we can have Oreos too, Benji. I'm working real hard to get you some new friends in this new school district. Come on, meet me halfway here. Maybe if you hyper-scanned as a group of friends, you could all broadsword your way to the cafeteria together and sit at the same table. And then your enemies on the football team would beat you up.
Well, thanks for listening to the podcast today.
And thank you! That's time! And Jake, for 5 whole points for the audience and for our esteemed doctor, please explain what is hyperscanning?
Hyperscanning. It's a technical term for what's going on with the neurons inside your brain when assessing for social cohesion.
Oh.
I got an ooh, so I'm not going to keep going.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jake. Have a seat. All right. So, what happens in the neurons for social cohesion? On a scale of 1, which is nice try, and 5, which is that was absolutely exactly perfect, is that hyperscanning?
A 3.
A 3, a solid 3. That's 3 points to Jake.
All right, that's 3 points for Jake. Putting Jake on the board with 3 points. You want a summary here, Dr. Kanu?
Let's get a scoring update, please.
Scoring update, we have Jake with 3, Susanna tied with 3, Kathleen in the lead with 5, and Sarah with that 1 extra bonus point. Good job, Mom. Back to you.
All right. Now that we have understood what hyperscanning is, or at least tried to, and we have understood that we are studying that in order to understand what happens with conversations, we need to understand what Dr. Laetitia Mwilambwe-Tshilobo and the team did in order to study this particular problem and how they approached it with the different methods that they use. So we will see another method statement, and this time again, as a fill in the blank. Let's see that fill in the blank up right now. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo and team conducted a hyperscanning experiment. That's right, we all know what a hyperscanning experiment is, which basically is when we have 2 MRI scanners which are scanning at the same time or concurrently. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo and team conducted a hyperscanning experiment in which 2 people either had a blank conversation or they read out loud blank to each other. That's right, there are 2 blanks. Players write out the answers on a completely blank sheet of paper so that you can see them clearly for the audience and our esteemed doctor tonight. Well, you have 30 seconds to answer those questions and begin Doctor, firstly, sorry that happened. At what point do you think we started losing sight of what is hyperscanning?
It probably had to do with the sports metaphor.
It had to do with the sports metaphor, I think, yeah, because it makes it antagonistic.
Yeah.
And you don't think hyperscanning has anything to do with antagonism?
Not in that way, no.
No. What if my enemy is in the other scanner and I'm...
Well, that would be very interesting to see how your feelings about each other show up on the brain.
We'll find out about that later. Well, thank you so much. Let's find out what the correct answer is, and then we will review the answers from the players. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo and team conducted a hyperscanning experiment in which two people either had a natural, free-flowing conversation, or they read out loud scripted conversations to each other. That's right, they conducted a hyperscanning experiment where the two people in the scanners were either having a free-flowing conversation or they were reading out scripted conversations to each other. Players, did you get that right?
Yes.
Let's find out, starting with Kathleen.
Well, I sure wish you two had your little sidebar before I started writing. My answer was that people had contentious conversations or they took turns reading Reddit posts.
Thank you, Kathleen. Let's hear it from Jake.
I took a very similar approach to Dr. Kathleen over here. I said they either had a very boring conversation or they read out innuendos to each other. You know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Dave, what do they say about science?
What do they say about science?
I and you.
Wow, I set it up, but nothing happened.
There is an I in science, but no you in science. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're gonna get adopted into it.
Yeah.
I don't have a Bachelor of Science.
Sarah, let's hear it from you.
Yes, I'd like to extrapolate from my earlier theory about meeting somebody in a bar and hooking up, and take that relationship and just progress it naturally into the future about 5 years. Yes, people were mind melding over their private marital conversations, or else reading intimate secrets to one another.
A lot of intimacy in those scanners happening. Thank you so much, Sarah. And finally, from Susanna. Oh my God.
Sure. Often the individuals had an inappropriate conversation where they continued to read out loud in an Irish accent to each other, which is often also inappropriate.
That's right. Incredibly inappropriate and offensive. Let's thank the players for their answers. Doctor, for 5 points, which of these answers are closest to natural, free-flowing conversations and scripted conversations? Is it contentious conversations and Reddit posts to each other? Is it having boring conversations and reading out innuendos to each other? Is it having a private marital conversation and reading out intimate secrets to each other? Or is it having an inappropriate conversation in an Irish accent to each other?
I believe the closest one might be a contentious conversation and Reddit posts.
That's 5 points to Kathleen. Let's hear a scoring update.
Okay, 5 more points to Kathleen. Jake with 3, Susanna with 3, Sarah still with 1, and Kathleen screaming in the lead with 10.
Oh, wow.
All right, now back to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Well, now that we have understood what the problem statement was, we have understood what hyperscanning is, and we have understood what methods the doctor and their team used in order to study this particular question, we are going to find out what their finding was, but not so easy. We will see a single statement of finding, which could be the true statement, or it could be a misrepresentation, a misconception, or just a truly false representation of that particular statement. Others might call it a true or false game. That's right, we will see that one particular statement over here in a game called Is That Right? That's right, it's a game within the game with the same name, and let's see that statement right now. Compared to scripted conversations, free conversations led to significantly more brain alignment, especially in regions related to language and social thinking. Each player will have 1 minute and they will come up to you and they will ask you questions. They can ask anything except whether this statement is just true or false. You have to answer to the best of your ability. Their questions are not in my hand, but I will try to guide them. Well, we will start with Susanna. Susanna, you have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, 1 minute begins now.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
I think we're getting along wonderfully, and that was an example of a scripted conversation. Now, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
See, this is more awkward. The other one, it felt free-flowing. This is tough stuff. So, my question, how is more brain alignment found in a free-flowing conversation? You have 8 words.
We measure brain activity and we compare conditions.
Impressive. It helps to have a script.
And that's time! Thank you, Susanna. Let's give them a round of applause. Sarah, are you ready with your questions?
Yes, actually, Doctor, if you don't mind reading off of the script I prepared for you. These would be my lines. These would be excellent. Are you having fun?
Yes.
Do you like my lab coat?
Yes.
Have you noticed that I am losing the game?
Yes.
Do you realize you are responsible for the
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. So, I think I've accomplished all I needed to accomplish up here today. But what I'd really like to know is let's just have a free-flowing conversation about it now, off script, shall we?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Why don't you give me any points?
I want to hear more from you.
I see. All right, so I feel like we're actually connecting more. I feel a little bit more close to you now. I feel as though we're mind melding. You want to hear more from me. I feel drawn in by this free-flowing conversation. Are you lying to me, Doctor?
And that's time! And that's time. Beautifully scripted conversation from Sarah. Jake, you have 1 minute on the clock and begin.
Okay, I only have a minute, so we have to go quick. If you can, it's circle 1, and you can just circle one of those.
What?
Just circle. Okay.
Oh!
She said what I
Wait
thought
a
she would
second.
do.
Oh, wow. Hold on, can I
And
see?
she has circled both.
That is illegal. That is not.
What do I have remaining? I didn't think I would need the whole minute.
You have half a minute left.
Okay, is this true or false?
No, Jake, you cannot have that. Have something else.
Okay, if I said true, would I be more or less
No,
right?
you can't have that
Social alignment, is this more aligned to true or to false?
Oh, no.
Okay, free flowing, just thinking, true or false, which one comes
No, not that either.
Okay, especially in regions, is there any region of the brain that lets you know when things are true or not?
And that's time! Have a seat, Jake. That was a valiant effort. And Kathleen, finally, 1 minute on the clock and begin.
So I have had multiple MRIs in my lifetime. So everyone calm down. While we have this conversation, I'm going to see if I can remember what that felt like. Hi, I'm from Los Angeles. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Congo.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's farther. It's so funny that you were talking about going to school in New England in Canada, because I went to school in Massachusetts, and I went to Canada one time. Did you like Canada?
Yes, I absolutely loved it.
I remember the loonies and toonies. That was fun for me. It was fun for you too?
No.
Well, what else is there to do in Canada?
I specifically lived in Montreal. I really liked Montreal.
Okay, I don't speak any French. So I guess you have me beat, but how many MRIs have you had?
I had 4.
And that's done! Thank you. All right, let's start with figuring out what the players thought their summary or conclusion was, whether this statement is indeed true or false. Let's start with Susanna. What do you think? Do you think this is true or do you think this is false?
Less brain alignment, false.
Okay, all right. Sarah, what do you think?
No, we were vibing by the end. I say true.
All right, Jake, let's hear from you.
I think it was both. Okay, I think people having free-flowing conversations is more likely to have more alignment because we're in a theater and we need that for our business to keep going. So I'm going to say that this is true.
Oh, that's very interesting. And Kathleen?
That was the best MRI I've ever had.
All right, so you have a false, a true, a true, a true. Let's find out if this is true or false. It's true! That's 5 points each for Kathleen, Jake, and Sarah. Now that we have understood what the true finding is and we have understood what methods were used and what the problem statement was and what hyperscanning is, let's actually hear from the true horse's mouth. Let's start to understand why the study worked and what worked about it in the next segment called the conference talk. That's right, players, have a seat among the audience.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about some of the exciting work that we are doing in our team on conversation. Conversations are really central to what it is to be human. And when you just take a moment to think about how we connect with one another, one of the most basic ways in which we can share our ideas, so when we get that really, really brilliant idea that no one else has thought of and you want to convey it to someone else, or when you find yourself in a moment where you disagree with, say, your spouse about something that you should do together, and you have to find consensus in order to reach agreement, you need to have these conversations. Or even when you find, you meet someone for the first time and you're like, wow, that person is so cool, but they're a stranger, but I want to get to know them better. You go up to them and you start having a conversation, and that could eventually lead you into somewhere really exciting with this new friendship. So we use conversations all the time. It comes very natural to us. While we can do all of these things as humans, there's really something special that's happening as the words are leaving my mouth and then landing on your ears. And if I'm able to communicate that successfully, hopefully I should be able to convey what it is that I'm trying to say to you. And what we want to be able to understand is really how does conversation bring both of our minds to the same place, where we can have a shared understanding of what we're trying to accomplish together, or what we're trying to explain to one another, or even our feelings about each other. So in order to be able to answer this really, really, really big question about how conversation brings our minds together, we need to be able to measure the neural alignment that's happening as we're talking. And so we use this measure. So if you have one person, let's say the person's brain, we scan them and their brain is in yellow, and we can look at the neural activity of their brain across time. So if we plot that and we take at each time point, so these 4 different time points, what the neural activity is as that person is undergoing a neuroimaging scan and an MRI. And we can do the same thing in another person's brain at the same time points. And we can look at the correlation, so how in sync for each brain region that we're taking in the yellow person's brain and the purple person's brain, we basically look at the coupling of their neural activity across 2 individuals, or if we want to expand it, basically more than 2 individuals at the time. And so this gives us a measure of neural alignment or neural synchrony. And so my research, I work with a team of really exciting and very wonderful scientists who helped design this experimental approach to be able to study conversation in real time. So we're not just taking recordings and having people, have conversations. We're actually having individuals be in an MRI where one person, there's 2 MRI machines in adjacent rooms. The participant who is in yellow is in one scanner, the participant in purple is in the other scanner, and we are scanning them as they're having conversations with one another. And we have basically 2 different conditions. One condition, as you already heard, is a generate condition. So we provide them with a prompt. So for example, if you had to go to dinner with a famous person, who would that be? And once they are given that prompt, they can then go ahead and just freely talk and bring in their own personal information, and we basically increase the level of intimacy of these questions so that it can help them feel a little bit more connected with one another. The other condition that we have is the read condition, and this is where they're reading a scripted conversation from another dyad, so 2 other individuals that we took all the recordings for, and they are just given the script. So in this read condition is kind of like our control, where they don't provide any personal information to the conversation, but we keep the same structure of the experiment so that we can compare what's happening when they're freely talking and when they have to be, when they're having, they're speaking to one another, but they're reading off of a script. That allows us to get to the question of what's happening when we're just generating the information without any constraints whatsoever about what we want to tell the other person. And so by doing this experiment, we're then able to use our measure of neural alignment, and we compare neural alignment during both of our conditions. So what you're seeing here is a picture of the brain. Areas that are in kind of the warmer colors, those represent increases in neural alignment, so how aligned and in sync their neural activity is between the 2 partners when they're having these free-flowing conversations. And then in blue, those are the areas when alignment is higher when they're having a scripted conversation. And there are, as you can see across the brain, there's a lot of red happening there. And this basically is the first time that we're seeing that as we're recording individuals in real time, that their neural activity of the partner's dyads aligns a lot of the brain. And when we start looking at specific areas and categorizing and trying to characterize what brain regions stand out, we see that overall brain regions that are important for social thinking, areas that are important for language also appear. And when we take even a step back to look at what overall networks that help in supporting social cognitive, or just general cognitive processes, that areas that are involved in attention seem to be really, really prominent. And so we are really excited about this work because, again, this is the first time that it's being done in using hyperscanning and having people having these naturalistic conversations, and we're really excited to be able to use this method to ask broader questions about how people connect with one another, to see if there's differences in how, if you have conversation partners who have a relationship with each other, whether they show different patterns of alignment, and to just be able to answer questions related to how we use conversation to connect with each other. And with that, I just want to say thank you very much for having me.
Any questions for the doctor? Yes.
Is neural, the neural synchronization, do you have an idea how that coincides with co-regulation between people?
So does neural synchronization
Is that the same thing?
And co-regulation between 2 people, how are they related? Is that the same thing or are they different things?
So this would be 2 different things. So here we are just looking at how the activity is correlated with one another, but if you're thinking about regulation, this would allow us to look at potential mechanisms that if we had different conditions where we're testing how they're regulating, maybe like what they're saying, or if you increase the, you're asking participants to have different kind of conversations, say having empathic conversation, having to listen empathically, and provide responses that help kind of support the other person, then in that scenario you might be able to get a little bit more towards the regulation portion of it. But in this context, here we're just looking at just general activity and looking at alignment in that area.
Okay, let's get another question. Let's see.
I have a question.
Well, yeah,
Here's a question
yes.
here.
So if you have two people and their speech tempos are matched, do you get more cohesion than if they're mismatched? Like one person speaks really slowly and one person speaks much faster, do you get less cohesion in those conditions?
So in this particular experiment, we don't necessarily look at, but there is work that's looking at the speed at which participants speak with one another. So if they have turns between each other that are very, very quick, that work suggests that you're going to see that might relate to just how participants respond about the quality of the conversation, so they'll feel more connected with one another. But in this particular work that we're doing, we are not necessarily looking at those turn lengths for this particular study, but that's something that we can answer.
All right, let's get another question from the audience. Yes, go ahead.
I know your experiments are in-person conversations. I wonder if you have any hypothesis for like instant messaging apps that if you talk through digital platforms, would that was the same kind of alignment or would that be different?
So I think if I had to make a hypothesis about it, if you are texting with someone, you might take a little bit more time. You have to see that really annoying bubble as someone is speaking with you, and that might you might be thinking about what are they, why are they responding, and the context of that would be different. So I would think that as people are having conversations, say via text, that might look a little bit different. But because we see in this particular experiment, as people are talking and not necessarily having those concerns, they still have gaps and all of those things, but they know that they have to answer within a specific period of time. I think that would generate much stronger neural response versus if you were typing, then you might see additional areas that are involved with motor control and that type of thing that might obscure the signal a little bit.
Right, let's get one last question.
Well,
Yes.
it's more of a comment, not really a question.
That's right, that's the name of the last game. I have a comment, not a question. Let's bring the players up. Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo, please have a seat right over here. Thank you again for those wonderful answers and for that wonderful talk. Please have a seat. Have you been to a scientific conference? Of course you have been. At a conference when the talk happens and then it is open to the forum for a Q&A section, what do you hear? Questions? No, they are mostly comment more than a question, and that's exactly what we will be emulating here. Right now, the players will be putting forth their comments, not questions, one after each other. Whenever they say, I have a comment, not a question, they are being interrupted, and somebody else, whoever said they have a comment, not a question, will come forth and they will put forth their comment, not a question. Whoever is standing on the stage the last at the end of 4 minutes will win 6 points.
Okay.
I'm just making it that. Yeah,
that's a number. I've heard of that.
That's a number. 6 points. They will be winning 6 points right now. That's right. And we will be hearing from all the players what kind of comments and not questions that they have. Jake, you said you have a question.
Well, it's actually more of a comment, not a question. I would just love to know, and it never really came up, is how to make better free-flowing conversation. Today I had an eye appointment in the waiting room. The person said my name, and so I immediately stood up, and they said, oh, you don't have to stand up. I just wanted to know if you wanted a macaron, because they had leftover macarons, and I immediately panicked, and I said, no. And I wanted it badly.
Let's hear that comment, please.
Thank you so much. So, I heard Macron, and I thought, that sounds French. And I sound Irish. So, I wanted to talk about the possible neural activity that happens if everyone is doing a fake accent. Have you studied that?
I have a comment, not a question. That was a question.
Oh.
So going back again, I really wanted one of these macarons, and he even said to one of his coworkers, he's like, oh look, they're so kawaii. Like apparently they were like cute in the box, and I'll never live that
I
moment
have a
down.
comment, not a question. Jake clearly failed in that social interchange. If someone offers you a macaron, you immediately say yes. You immediately stand up and get it, except the person said sit down, so Jake sat passively. I'd like to talk about passive communication, or those 3 nefarious dots that you talked about were all
I have a comment, not a question, and that just felt very passive-aggressive. I in fact stood up because I was in a waiting room where you're waiting to hear your name called, so you can stand up and go get seen by a doctor.
Not a question. Macron? Macaroon. Is this the same food?
I have a comment, not a question. There are macaroons and there are macarons. One of them is the little sandwich cookies that are brightly colored. One of them is a coconut item.
I have a comment, not a question. Kathleen believes that nothing occurs in the regions of Canada or New Zealand, so I'm not sure that she's qualified today to speak about various regional cookies across the world.
I have a comment, not a question. Things happen in New Zealand, but then they come here where there's production crews. What we do in the shadows, excellent taste. Netflix is a fantastic network. They have a lot of great shows, and I couldn't watch them in my MRI because it was the 2000s. They didn't have that tech yet. So I literally had to lie there and do nothing.
I have a comment, not a question.
You have 1 more minute.
Definitely could have brought screenplays into the MRI. As we have clearly seen, science indicates that you can read scripts while an MRI is being performed.
I have a comment, not a question. In order to read, you need the ability to do so. I was at the time point.
Not a question. It was very clear by the PowerPoint that they did not have tech. They were reading scrolls.
I have a comment, not a question. The clip art options on PowerPoint have waned over the
Comment, not a question. It turns out my current prescription is actually too high. I'm restrained it.
Prescription. I'm not sure which one is appropriate in his doctor's office. So, when I eat a cookie, I have
a comment, not a question. I just can't have that. I also wanted to get contacts. I tried to put them in, and it just wasn't going in.
I have a comment, not a question. That was an ambiguous pronoun. Did you try to put contacts in, or did you try to put the macarons in? We don't know.
And that's done! Dr. Mwilambwe-Tshilobo, please stand with us right over here, and the players, could you all please stand up with me, and the audience, if you can all get into a little bit of a drum roll on our lap, please.
All right, the score is as follows. That last round, 6 points did go to who was victorious, which was Sarah, bringing her score to 12. Not enough, though, to win. From Cap, real quickly, Susanna was 3, Jake with 8, but Kathleen with 15 points, and tonight's winner.
Doctor, please place the mortarboard on their head, and Kathleen, please, a speech.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I chose a difficult hairstyle. We have, thank you everyone, really. This is such a group effort. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us on a Thursday and coming on out. Thank you, and we have a gift for you. It is a scented candle.
But not pumpkin!
It's not pumpkin, but it is a fall scented candle that we have for you right over here. We hope you enjoy that, and if you can have that right here. Well, tonight's show of Is That Right was brought to you by Susanna Beckett, Sarah Clare, Jake Lucas, and our winner, Kathleen Sheehy, and our scientist, Dr. Laetitia Mwilambwe-Tshilobo. My name is Dr. Kanu Pandey. Thank you for coming. Come back again. Have a good night.